Hello, my name's Kevin. I'm the typical cripple. I'm with.
Sardine,
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
we're doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good. So we missed a week. I
I was
I,
out of town.
I should have done one of my own. Oops. All right, what are we doing today? Put it up on the board, Jamie.
All right. All right, Joe.
I'm not Joe. I'm not fit to be Joe.
Well, then I'm not Jamie.
Oh, you're okay. All right, what are we looking at here? Ecclesiastes, right?
Here,
Not.
yes, there we go. Now we're in
All right.
Ecclesiastes.
So we had some things. So we have not rehearsed enough, have we?
Oh no, never. It's
So
not our way.
so you and I. So you texted me today, going, "What are we going to do tonight?" And I level back at you, Ecclesiastes.
Yep.
And like, and not very specific, but that got you. So, um, why do you think Ecclesiastes is a good place to
Well,
mull over today?
I mean, there's a lot of practical wisdom in there, and also like truth that things are not always the same. There's different seasons. There are different times. Like this chapter
Like,
3 here.
like 3-1. For everything, there's a season and a time. For every manner under heaven.
Yep.
Is that a moral declarative statement?
I I think it's more. I mean, there's moral implications for what we do in each season,
Oh,
but I think it's
so
more just like this is the reality. Like
so
things go a certain way for a time, but then
okay,
this season changes.
okay. So when seasons change, are they just? I'm a geographer by education, and I know that when the Earth revolves around the sun, I know flat earthers, but be patient. Um, the Earth revolves around the sun, and there are seasons. Are we in control of that?
No.
But are there things that we are in control of?
Yeah, yeah. You could go to the other hemisphere and avoid a season if you really want to.
You know what? I saw a video about these surfers who used to deal in drugs and smuggle into LA. They used to do this, and they used to have literally endless summers
Right.
because um, you're in the winter months, you're in the south, and in the northern months, you're in the north.
Yeah.
And summer sometimes, summer somewhere every day of the year. But I think as far as us, and as far as um, Solomon here, he's reflecting on. Well, actually, got the two.
You want to go back to 2? Okay.
Yeah. Is there the wind?
Striving after the wind.
Yes.
What?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's an impermanence to life, and we think of our efforts as striving after wind because we can't give it to other people. What's marriage? Remember? It's about passing along property.
Right. Having
And
legitimate children.
right. So here we have another data point that this is a nihilistic book. It is. Because Solomon at this point in time is like, my kids are crap. This is all crap. I'm pissed. it's like all you can do is sit there and go, you know what? God's good on his throne, and I'm not in control of everything. That's a nihilistic viewpoint.
Well, nihilism, wouldn't that mean nothing matters? Nothing has any ultimate meaning.
Well,
I don't know if he goes that far.
it's meaning me. Go back to the first words of the book, chapter 1.
Vanity, vanity, says the preacher. All is vanity of vanities. All is vanity.
Keep going.
What does man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever.
Okay, so that's pretty negatory.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't.
Now it gets better. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, he doesn't stay there.
But, I mean, go to, let's say, 11.
11. Turning it all the way up to 11.
Yes. So here we got the cast your blood. I mean, it's like, go ahead, throw your dice. Maybe God might give you something.
Yeah.
Okay, this is also very, there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that in Western society, we made some innovations. Property rights,
Mm-hmm.
freedom of speech. These allow us to think and build. Corporate structure allow us to non-religiously come together and do things. I had several friends that used to work for Boeing. Boeing's a good place to work, but, it's not a religion. It doesn't give you ultimate telos.
Right.
So it's like, but nonetheless, it gives a telos of itself. You can do a good job. You can feel good about it. It'll give you a bump, to use addict talk.
Yeah.
And the more bumps you get, the more you feel good. You get too many bumps, you start lifting off the ground and ascending too high, like Icarus.
Well, what's that passage that says, "Work heartily as unto the Lord"?
Right. And from that, we take these little things and we say we build our lives, and we hope nothing comes down from heaven and blows us away.
Job.
But, right. But if it does happen, you got to make sure that you're resilient. And that's what I want to say. I want to talk about resilience. Go back to chapter 3.
Okay.
God does not pull punches. Read from 2 to 8.
A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace.
Okay, that's the whole gambit of life.
Mm-hmm.
There's no oughts. There's no this should, this ought, this. So the question is, how do we say what's good or bad? Is it good to be born?
Is it good in and of its? I mean, life is good. God says children are a blessing.
Right. So therefore, we look at it and say everyone should have a right to live.
Hmm.
They
Thou
should
shalt
be,
not murder.
well, not kill.
I've always been taught it's not murder because
Right.
killing could be done justly.
Yes.
Murder is by definition unjust.
Right. But is there ever a good time to die? Yes.
Well,
If you
yeah.
don't have, there are bad times to die.
Mhm.
So therefore, there must be a good time to die. So instead of, being simple-minded and saying, this all, this none, this, I mean, it's like you gotta kind of feel your way out.
Like
And we have to do that as Christians. Sometimes we have to step out on a branch.
Yeah.
Hopefully our neighbor's not going to saw it out from under us. Or that we're not going to saw ourselves off of our own branch. But then I want you to go to that Jeremiah verse you brought up. I want you to read these verses here. I think it goes up higher.
No, so I don't know how far up you want me to start.
Oh. I want you to contextualize it. Scroll down. Just read the blue.
Okay. If it would go away.
Starting at 13.
Yeah. For from the least to the greatest of them, everyone is greedy for unjust gain, and from prophet to priest, everyone deals falsely. They have healed the wound of my people lightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace.
Read 12.
Their houses shall be turned over to others, their fields and wives together, for I will stretch out my hand against the inhabitants of the land, declares the Lord.
Wow, that's pretty mean. That's
It's
mean.
harsh.
Well, right. So here's the thing: what kind of things would require God to act so like this?
Some pretty bad stuff.
So what are some of the sins that you maybe the when was the first temple destroyed? 5 something?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not sure.
Between 5 and 6. What were the people doing at that time? Do you know?
I mean, I know some of their sins, but I don't know
Well,
specifically. There's like,
I'm not trying to give you.
go ahead, tell me, or tell us.
Well, they were aborting their kids to Moloch.
Oh, they were child sacrifice. Yes, that sounds familiar.
Okay. They were not they were. I mean, here's the thing: it's not their adherence to bacon eating that God was upset.
They also were. They didn't celebrate, or they didn't do Jubilee. They didn't. They
That's a
took
big.
advantage of the people in need,
Okay.
the poor.
So in my life, how am I a poor person? Do I look
Relative to the median
Right.
in America? Yeah.
But I've tried to scrape by as humbly and as. I mean, I do a pretty good job of it. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be little Trump. But I am trying to say, you look at my life, you're like, put together for a cripple.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the best I can. And yet, you know of some of the things I go through.
Mhm.
Do you remember the one where the caregiver tried to put together the connectors on the front?
Yeah.
You want to explain that a little bit?
Well, yeah. So whenever we take you out you have a van that has straps for your wheelchair that connects to anchor points on your wheelchair.
And to the van.
Right, and to the van. So
Yeah.
you're strapped in, and the wheelchair can't move relative to the van.
Right.
And so this particular caretaker, often what happens is I'll strap it. I'll go in. There's 4 straps, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. I'll usually do the back ones, and this caretaker, if they're there, they'll do the front ones.
Right.
And this particular instance, when I undid the straps,
Right.
I guess I can't remember. I think the caretaker wasn't there anymore.
Well,
And so
she based.
I undid the front ones, and I noticed the front ones
They weren't taught.
they weren't actually like tightened. So had there been an issue, like if I had accelerated too quickly, the wheelchair wouldn't have been resisted in that direction.
There would have been a lot of slack. And
Well, you
that
could have done a backward. You could have tipped backwards, basically.
it wouldn't have gone good for me.
No.
It would have been an externalizing of my safety.
Yeah.
By somebody supposedly trained in doing this.
Yeah.
So what I see here is standards aren't being kept.
Right.
And so what if I told you that I've seen as steady decline of standards
I mean,
for a long time?
I've seen it as well in other realms. It just
Okay.
the standard of a lot of stuff has gone down. For you,
Right.
it's more dangerous in these situations, but
I had a
it's all over the
conversation.
place.
I had a conversation this week with a friend. He's like, I told him our church built me a lift. You seen it?
Mhm.
Okay. I was telling this friend, he's like, why'd you make him build you a lift? Why don't you just get one from the government? I said, well, the one I got from the government has a situation where I can be let down all the way to the ground very hard.
Yeah.
And if I do, I would break my pelvis.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh gosh, I had no idea. And I'm like sitting there going, I told you for 3 years what's going on.
Yeah.
And you just didn't
Hear it.
hear it.
Yeah.
The more I said it, the more hyperbolic I got, and it got easier just to say, screw you, dude. You're just
being
full.
dramatic.
Yes. I yell at
And besides, the caretakers are well trained. They would never accidentally press that button that
So-
slams you on the ground.
They do it all the time.
I know, I'm being sarcastic.
Right. Sarcasm is where you say something over the top for comedic purposes.
But that was just accurate.
Which is actually called a fantasy.
Oh yeah. When reality is more ridiculous than sarcasm?
When reality becomes parody. That's when you know God's mocking us.
Mm.
He's like, oh, you think you go together. All right, come up with things that are weird.
Yeah.
And see, at this point, everyone's, like, oh crap, I can't believe what I'm saying is true. And now everyone's just out for themselves.
Well, and a lot of people are just still ignoring it. They're just, I don't really follow politics. I don't really follow news. I'm just in my own little world.
Siloism.
Yeah. That's how a
Yeah.
lot of my coworkers are.
Right. So, by the way, this is all for you guys. So, when you hear people saying peace, peace, be aware. Read this.
So it's if anyone's not watching, it's a dog that's surrounded in flames and smoke, and it's saying, "This is fine." It's sitting at a table with a coffee in front of it, and then it says, "I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently." And it takes a sip of its coffee. Meanwhile, the flesh on its arm is melting off. Then the next one is, "That's okay. Things are going to be okay," and it's literally on fire. Most of the skin is melted off, and its eyeballs are falling out of its face, and its lips have melted off as well.
So, here's the thing. This is the pattern. This is the pattern that we're entering into.
Peace, peace, when there's no peace.
Right. Next video. Let's think of ways to get out of it. Because when I see a herd of people going over the cliff, you either get wrapped up in it or you move the other way.
Yeah. So
All
you're
right.
doing okay. Sign it off.
My name's Kevin. I'm the cripple I'm with.
Sardine.
See you on the next bounce.
Adios.